Right now at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda. Choose any new Mazda and get low 0.9% financing. Or get 2.9% financing for 72 months on select new Mazdas. Move and be moved in your new Mazda with tremendous savings from Team Mazda on Airline.
Good morning, 7:03 here on a Monday morning, and severe weather is where we're keeping our eyes on, from severe thunderstorm warnings to tornado warnings. We've got a lot going on.
Kind of eyeballing this as early as last week, and so this has now arrived in our part of the world. So let's get right over to Jared Silverman, see if we can't figure this out. It's moving through. We've had tornado warnings off and on, mostly, thankfully, hopefully most of them getting out of here, but we still got some stuff to go through.
Yeah, we really do. We've had about 5 or 6 tornado warnings so far this morning. There's just one lingering, and fingers crossed that's going to be the end of the tornado warnings. We do have the first alert for today, more to the point for this morning. And now this is some good news. Okay, we're starting to see the severe thunderstorm watch boxes get scaled back and subtracted and cut down a little bit. Still have it in effect until 11 a.m. for the immediate Baton Rouge area, but I'll tell you, it's not even going to take that long for everything to clear on out of here. So we got a couple of things that we're looking at. Number one, between Baton Rouge, St. George, Gonzales, pockets of heavy rain, but no warnings over there. Now you see this over in Hammond blinking. It's interesting to see what the National Weather Service is doing here. What this is, it was a tornado warning. Now this blinking means that it is a severe thunderstorm warning of a destructive nature. That means that they have estimated wind gusts in this area in between Livingston and Hammond between 60 miles per hour, maybe getting as high as 80 miles per hour. I don't need to tell you that's hurricane force winds. Meanwhile, okay, now another tornado warning box has just popped up. This one is really on the outskirts, probably outside of our viewing area, nevertheless, heading toward the lakes, just to the north of Lake Maurepas, and then heading towards Pontchartrain, basically riding right along the I-12 corridor. So again, if you're in these areas, and that's around Hammond, around up and down the I-55 corridor, in between Amite, Hammond, down to Lake Maurepas, I would say you definitely want to stay indoors, get to the lowest level possible, stay in a small room. The heavy thunderstorms go all the way back to New Iberia, back to south of Lafayette, and there you see at the very end of this loop, White Castle over to Plaquemine, definitely under the gun, heavy rain, and hopefully this whole thing is moving at such a fast forward speed that we're not going to have to worry too much about flooding, and that's obviously something that we're going to keep a watchful eye on. There you see the tornado warning in between Livingston and Hammond. That one's in effect until 7:45, so technically another 40 minutes, but I got to tell you, this is moving with such a fast speed. I have a feeling it's going to go away a little bit sooner than that. Meanwhile, I've gone under the velocities. Now, I can't confirm just by looking at this that this is a tornado that we're looking at, but I will say you see all this green and this little splotch of red right in here. It's not a densely populated area right along I-12 and the cross section of LA 441. So I would say from 190, if you are south of Holden, south of Albany, that area right along I-12. Again, I can't confirm that that's a tornado, but I would not be surprised there's a little bit of rotation right there based on what the velocity is showing. But as I mentioned, I don't think we have to worry too much about flooding, even though I know these are pockets of heavy rain. I know some of us were hit really hard over the weekend on Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon, but this is moving even faster than the models had it. So if it's moving faster, then it makes sense that it's going to clear out faster too. Still have the severe thunderstorm watch box that's in effect. That's area wide. All right, let me take you to the HRRR. The graph, I think the graph's too slow. I'm kind of throwing that one out. I think the HRRR is adjusting and evolving really well. This is what they have at 8 a.m., so this is what the radar could and should look like in about 45 minutes from now. Then by 9 a.m., according to the HRRR, Baton Rouge is going to be on the back of the edge of it already, and then it starts making its way into the New Orleans area, of course their viewing area, and then by the time we get to the midpoint of the day and the noon hour, we see all those storms get on out of here, and then we might even break out with a little bit of sunshine. Matter of fact, I expect us to do just that. But before we get there, we got to clear out this one area. You're going to see this continue, this whole thing continue to move to the east, so it continues that Baton Rouge is right on the line of level 1, level 2. The only reason why you see the level 1 back there to the west is because of, once again, the timing of this whole thing. Okay, so we are also going to see the damaging winds and tornado threat that is also there. Producer, can you talk to me one more time, Kirsten? What were you saying? Okay, we're going to kick this over to On Air in just 1 second. Stand by. Okay. Good. Let's take it right back to the radar. If you are tuning in, our showers and thunderstorms definitely on the heavy side. Our primary threat still damaging winds and possibility of tornadoes. We have already seen a couple of tornado warnings. Meanwhile, there you see the areas in red between St. George, Gonzales, down to Donaldsonville, and this one flashing box right over here. First of all, let's say this, all the way between Columbia and Hattiesburg up in Marion, Mississippi, they actually did have a confirmed tornado touchdown that's outside of our viewing area. Here, though, right along the I-55, and that's right in between Tangi down to Hammond and points south of the I-10 and the 190 corridor. That's flashing because of a potentially destructive situation. That means that they could be seeing winds as high as between 60 and 80 miles per hour. And of course, I don't need to tell you, those are hurricane force winds. This is what we have remaining as far as the tornado warning. We did have a tornado warning up in Tangi, right around the Amite area. That was supposed to be in effect until 7:15. National Weather Service went ahead and they nixed that, so that's gone. So the tornado warning right along the Hammond area, and then one more new one just to the south in between Hammond down to Lake Maurepas. So if you live in that area just south of the 190 and the I-12 corridor, you're really going to want to stay indoors, get to your safe space, wait until the thunderstorms pass. You're going to hear it start to quiet down in about 20 minutes. That's when you'll start to know that it's safe. Baton Rouge trying to get on the back edge of it, and we've already had reports of some schools that have actually had to close up shop for the day just because they are getting a lot of areas of knocked out power. And we're going to give you an update with power outages in just a second. You can see now on the radar, Baton Rouge to the south, St. George is getting moderate showers, Prairieville getting heavy rain right now, down to White Castle as well. And again, if you live in between Killian and Hammond, you really want to stay safe. Keep our WAFB weather app ready to go just in case you take a power hit and you lose us here. You're still going to be able to pick us up on our apps as well or online. Meantime, this is in effect until 7:45. I suspect they'll be able to let it go a little bit sooner than that, the tornado warning that's just off to the south of Hammond. Again, in between Amite up the 55 to Kentwood and Franklinton, these are the areas, especially up to Tylertown. Remember those areas? About 2 weeks ago, they got hit hard by that tornadic activity. We're not trying to duplicate that again, but it looks like the I-55 is just about to get to the backside, the better side, the cleaner side of these showers and thunderstorms. Let's zoom in a little bit more closely. And like I said a few seconds ago, I can't absolutely confirm that this is a tornado touchdown, but if you are south of 190, in between the intersection of I-12 and LA 441, right here by LA 43 and 441, this is just south of a line from Holden. Here's Albany, and here's Baptist. So if you're in Holden, Albany, or Baptist, you guys are okay for right now, but it's more to the south, right as you get towards the intersection of LA 43 and LA 441. Again, this is south of Holden, south of Albany. These two areas right here could indicate at the very least some rotation. Again, no confirmation so far of any tornado touchdowns in our viewing area, but we have had a few confirmed out to Marion, Mississippi, right by places like Hattiesburg. Again, the big difference maker this morning is we're seeing everything move through at a very fast clip, even faster than the models were suggesting. That could be a good thing. The storms move through faster. The bad news is it punches up the wind a little bit. And the good news, once again, is that we actually start to see things clear out a little bit faster than that. Meanwhile, we have a radar-confirmed tornado in Livingston, and that's Livingston Parish between Livingston and Albany. Dr. Steve actually tweeting that out. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Steve. So again, that's Livingston, and that's actually that point that I was just talking about, just to the south of Albany, and that's where we saw the possibility in our velocity of some storm rotation over there. And again, you could see that storm moving in right now. That's actually just off to the south of Hammond. There you see the red box, so it's in between there and Killian and Ponchatoula and Springfield. So we got to really zoom in to add a couple more of these towns. So again, if you are near LA 42, that's the intersection of LA 42 and just off to the south of I-12, so this is between Albany, Hammond, and points down to the south, you definitely want to stay indoors. We do have a confirmed tornado touchdown in that area. So again, first floor, lowest floor possible, small room. You don't want any windows in that small room. And if you live in between Springfield, going to Ponchatoula there as well, that's where we're seeing the possible rotation from these storms. If we go out and zoom out a little bit more, you could see that this is still the front line of the storm. So it makes sense that now it's the eastern part of our viewing area that's getting a couple of these warnings. These are the same warnings that we dealt with in between Baton Rouge back to the west side. That was earlier at about 5:45. So already in our viewing area, area. I would say by my count, we've had about 6 or 7 separate tornado warnings. So far, there have been 2 confirmations of tornado touchdowns, one up in Marion, Mississippi, that's outside of our viewing area, and the second one again over in the Livingston Parish area. So again, if you are south of 190 and south of I-12, in between places like Holden, going away from Livingston, going towards Hammond, you definitely want to stay indoors and stay safe over the next 10 to 20 minutes over there. Elsewhere, back towards St. George, Plaquemine, White Castle, and now going across the Atchafalaya Basin, we're starting to see things quiet down a little bit more over there. Kentwood starting to quiet down, the I-55 corridor starting to quiet down as well, and hopefully that's going to continue to be the case. Again, tornado warning, if you're just joining us, it looks like that tornado warning has now migrated a little bit farther to the east, and it has a town called Pumpkin Center, which is just to the north of Springfield and in between Hammond down to Ponchatoula. So here's Hammond right here, here's Ponchatoula down here, and in between is the 51 and the I-12. So I-12 near Highway 51, that's where we're seeing the possible rotation right now on our radar. So again, in between Baptist, Hammond, down to Ponchatoula, and just off, I would say, to the east of Springfield and Pumpkin Center, you are going to want to stay indoors, get to the lowest level possible, small interior room, no windows, stay put until you're safe, and that should be in about 15 minutes or so. Meanwhile, you're seeing the forward speed of this huge batch of showers and storms, and now the back edge is starting to make its way away from the Lafayette to Lake Charles area. So the whole thing is moving with a forward speed a little bit faster. It's moving at a faster clip. That's kind of good news, bad news. The bad news is it stirs up the winds that much more, and that's why we're seeing wind gusts over 60 miles per hour across various parts of the viewing area. But the good news, hopefully it lowers our flood exposure and our flood risk. So here's the HRRR. This is what the radar might look like in about an hour or two from now. 7:15 right now. This is what the HRRR thinks it's going to be at 9 a.m. Maybe a few light lingering showers back here, but then it starts to really go through the New Orleans viewing area, and it even gets through their area by about 11 o'clock. So by 11 a.m., we're still going to be looking significantly better, drier, and as we take it into the afternoon, not only drier, but the sun's going to pop out, and we're going to be looking a lot better too. By the SPC, we have still been under this level 2 slight risk for severe weather. It turns into an enhanced risk, but again, that's outside of our viewing area, not that far away. So we're getting a bunch of tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings right now, right in this area, just off to the north of Lake Maurepas, Lake Pontchartrain, and eventually making its way outside completely of our area. The 2 primary risks are going to continue to be damaging winds and tornadoes. Hail and flooding, that's going to be a possibility, but it's right now, I'm not really seeing too many reports of hail, and hopefully flooding won't be bad because the storms are moving through so quickly. By 10 a.m., that's going to be out of here. By the way, what you're looking at here, 3 to 4 inches of rain estimated. Remember, that's just taking into account this morning and going forward over the next week. So there are going to be several more rain chances that kick up those numbers. So again, looking at the forecast, we're going to stay very bullish right up until about 9 a.m. And then as we get to 11 a.m., we'll start to take it down. And in the afternoon, we are looking completely dry and rain-free. That's a look at your updated forecast at 7:15. Where are we going to send it right now? We're going to take a look at your roads. Johnny's got you. Hey, Johnny.
Well, good morning. And good morning, everyone. Glad you are staying with us this morning with our WAFB 9 news this morning and our extended coverage until this weather activity gets out of here. So there's my traffic map without the overlay. Here's the overlay on top of that. You can see where some of that activity has been and where it might be going. So over here on I-12, like he was talking about, north and south of the interstate, certainly in the St. George area, Prairieville, St. Gabriel, in Iberville Parish, the ferry boat in Plaquemine temporarily out of service until that weather system moves and crosses the river right in that area, so be aware of that. Here's a live look right near the Amite River Bridge. This is facing Baton Rouge, so there's traffic to and from Denham Springs on 12. Definitely see it's raining there, a lot heavier. It's not quite as heavy as it was a minute ago, but still raining here at the 10-12 merge. That's right here in the Baton Rouge area, and we take you out to our drive times. 27 minutes. It's usually about 18 or 20. There's 27 minutes coming in from Gonzales. Most of that from Highway 30 from the Gonzales to Prairieville on exits. And then you see where the breakdown is beyond that. And then I-12 Juban to the 10-12 is 21 minutes. Only 5 of that to the Amite River. And then from the Amite River Bridge all the way into the 10-12, that's the bulk of that going right into that rain shower activity that we just showed you on the map. Meanwhile, it's getting a little bit better past College and Acadian down toward the downtown area. This is our Gordon McKernan First Alert traffic camera at College Drive. Both sides of the interstate moving pretty well. Not seeing near the lightning that we saw earlier in this exact shot. So it does appear to be kind of moving through, but there's a little bit of lightning right there at 17 minutes after the hour. We're still seeing a lot of traffic in and around the area, especially for those thunderstorms. Not seeing it on the way to New Orleans just yet. Once you get out of Laplace and head toward Loyola and Kenner, that's still temporarily dry, but it's edging up on that. 7:17, our continuous coverage on our rain shower activity continues, kind of keeping you safe and prepared. Matt, Liz?
Johnny, thank you. We're tracking a number of things here, hearing from different school districts.
Yep.
East Feliciana, the latest, to cancel school for the day. Zachary, also in that same situation. A lot of these parishes are dealing with power outages.
Sure.
In fact, as we track them this morning, Livingston Parish dealing with Demco is reporting about 1,700 customers without power this morning. Still waiting to see how that's going to impact Livingston closures as well.
So as we kind of get you into the map here, taking a look at where we're kind of seeing some of these power outages. You mentioned some of the schools and some of the harder hit areas. This is our friends over at poweroutage.us. You look at EBR, okay, so that's up top, obviously, but that's EBR. You just mentioned some of the school closures. EBR not closed, but now excusing tardies. They understand what's out there right now. You're going to have buses being late, mom and dad, though, those taxis being late. EBR with, what's their outages at? Approaching like 1,500.
It's about 3,000
That's about 3,000
right now.
So that'll tell you exactly how impressive some of these, the line of storms has been. And so we're seeing this. This begins to be part of the story. There's only a few of those, as Liz mentioned, canceling schools today. But I think for the most part, because it's going to be, by 11 o'clock this morning, it's going to look like a great school day, right?
Hard to believe.
It's just got to get to that point.
Exactly. Hard to believe when you're seeing video like this. A viewer sending us this video right around 7 o'clock this morning. So this is what appears to be Sherwood Forest Boulevard, where you see not only ponding, but this is flooding of water. You see both of those lanes. You can see there. Jared, you got something going on?
Yeah, we actually still have our tornado warning, but you guys can go ahead.
Yeah, well, Jared's obviously following that, keeping an eye on that. Look, I drive Sherwood Forest every single day. I know exactly where it begins to flood all the time out there. It's notorious for deep water out there. And so chances are in your little part of the world, you know exactly where those trouble spots are going to be, that flash flooding. Thankfully, hopefully it begins to move through here pretty quickly. But sometimes, Liz, it ain't just the rain, it's this.
This is a look at Hushatu Road, hail coming down in the neighborhood over there. This was sent in to us by Desandra Abear. So you can see this is a number of issues that we're seeing around our viewing area. This was earlier this morning. And Jared, this is some of the storm reports that we're getting. What are you seeing on your end here at 720?
Yeah, Liz, we've been seeing on the radar that a couple of those thunderstorms could be hail producers, especially earlier this morning. So right now we're not seeing much in the way of hail, but again, about an hour or two ago, we certainly were seeing quite a bit of it right around the immediate Baton Rouge area. Our current radar is showing showers and thunderstorms, heavy thunderstorms moving right on through. And there you can see what you're seeing there in that video. That's generally, I would say, pea-sized, dime-sized hail, usually not what we consider large and right below severe criteria. Nevertheless, we still have our one remaining or our 1.5 remaining tornado warnings right now that are out in the eastern parishes, right around Hammond down to Springfield. We're going to take a closer look at that in 1 second. You can see Baton Rouge now getting on the better side, the back side, the west side of these showers and thunderstorms that stretch Gonzales, Pierre Part all the way back to New Iberia and points to the south of Lafayette. And again, between Prairieville, St. George down to Sorrento, you can see the tornado warning just off to the east of a line from Hammond down to Killian. And that tornado warning is in effect from right now till 7:45, right now 7:21. So you got about another 20 to 25 minutes on this tornado warning. This has been confirmed. We do have confirmation of a tornado touchdown about 10 to 15 minutes ago in the Livingston area. It was near Springfield. So now looking at our Doppler velocity, and this is within the tornado warning box, you could see that box has now migrated a little bit more to the east, but anywhere between, this is LA 1249, south of the I-12 corridor. This is well to the south of Holden and Albany. There you see Albany up here. So as you go south of Albany, eventually you hit two towns. Pumpkin Center is one, Springfield is the other, and it was right in this area near Springfield where there was confirmation of a tornado touchdown. Now, it looks like we could still be seeing some rotation. I would say right north of Rosaryville, that's right there, Wadsboro, and there aren't too many towns right here. It's coming up to, I would say, Ponchatoula. It looks like it's starting to weaken just a little bit, and hopefully that is going to be the situation. The whole entire complex of thunderstorms is moving through at a very fast, very high clip, and again, the Futurecast HRRR has Baton Rouge already basically on the back end of it within the next 30 minutes, if not sooner. And then as we keep this thing moving by about 9 a.m., that's where we expect this forward line to see. So over the next hour, hopefully we're going to start to see those warnings scale down a little bit. Certainly what they're going to do is migrate farther and farther to the east as this front continues to push through and take it there. But we should see actually a little bit of a clearing in the afternoon, and we're going to get more and more sunshine. SPC still has our area highlighted in a level 2. That's for a slight risk category. That's probably for the next hour or two, and then you're going to start to see them scale that back as well. Needless to say, the primary risks continue to be damaging winds and the possibility of isolated tornadoes. We've seen hail, but remember, typically for it to be severe hail, it needs to be closer to about 1 inch in diameter. The hail that we were showing a little bit earlier, that looks like it falls just below that criteria. Over the next 7 days, more rain because we have more rain chances that are upcoming in the future. The forecast again for today, we're going to have a decreasing chance of showers and thunderstorms. Once we get beyond the 9 a.m. hour, we should be looking significantly better. The sun returns in the afternoon. But again, if you are in that tornado warning area, and that is right now in the Livingston area, you're going to want to definitely, in Livingston Parish, you're going to want to stay tuned. You're going to want to stay indoors. And again, wait until that tornado warning ends. Let me get one more look at that tornado warning to make sure that nothing new has been issued. It's in effect until 7:45. Just waiting for my computer to catch up with me. There we go. And there you see, it looks like that red box is still there right around Ponchatoula back down to Rosaryville. We did have confirmation right near the Springfield area. It looks like that area is no longer under this tornado warning. We'll keep a watchful eye on that. This tornado warning box just off to the east of Killian, south of Hammond. So that's good. If you live in the Hammond area, you were under a tornado warning. That since has been canceled. Not totally out of the woods yet. Still getting a couple of brief heavy downpours over there as well. But again, I would say along the I-55 and east of I-55, that's where you're going to see the storms really start to pick up at a very heavy clip over the next hour or so. Baton Rouge, the immediate Baton Rouge area, looks like we've gone green on our radar. Hopefully that's going to continue to be the case, and hopefully we'll continue to see this start to clear out. The back edge now is in between Lafayette and south of Jennings. Lake Charles has already cleared everything out. So it looks like from here on out, from this point onward, if we see any warnings, it looks like they're going to clearly be well off to the east of the Baton Rouge area. And also, guys, I don't know if we mentioned this. I saw through our email that East Feliciana Public Schools, did we mention that? That they closed? Okay. Again, obviously for a precautionary measure, and there are a lot of people taking power hits. All right, that's a look at your radar. It's now 7:25. Where are we going now? We're going to get another check on traffic, or? All right, Johnny's going to give us a look at the roads. Hey, Johnny.
Sure. And like you said, the Walker, Livingston Parish, Livingston, Holden, all of those areas right now. So there's our map. Well, let's go back to the to this shot first. Starting to actually see some clearing skies just a little bit, and you can kind of see the bridge way off in the background. So that's getting a little bit better this morning here in the immediate area. Traffic from the 1012 to downtown back to normal. Ferry boat still out of service temporarily in the Plaquemine area. So there's our map. Overlay the radar. A while ago you saw reds and yellows all through the Baton Rouge area right in this area. This is downtown. There's the old bridge up here near Southern, and all of that's gotten a little bit better. So we widened the shot, and you can see where that activity is in the Livingston Parish area. Certainly if you're going out toward Hammond in that area, northeast of Hammond, through I-55 and some of these other ones, certainly in the Covington area, north of Covington and Folsom in that area, and then south of the interstate, all through the Killian area, Lake Maurepas, all of that's a little bit congested this morning because of the rain shower activity. So here's a live look near one of the Walker cameras. This Walker North Road near 447, that's I-12. And as we take you out to the I-55 area, what was a crystal clear shot a few minutes ago is now starting to get socked in. This is right around Manchac Pass. That's going to be between Lake Maurepas and Lake Pontchartrain. Menendorf's is in that area. You'll definitely see some flooding temporarily right in the between the interstate and between I-55 and Highway 51 right there in that area. So if you're going out toward New Orleans, expect that that's going to get a little wet again soon. 21 minutes from Gonzales to Baton Rouge, 21 minutes from Denham to Baton Rouge. So those drive times are improving some. And again, the Plaquemine Sunshine Ferry Boat still temporarily out of service. Now, if you're heading to New Orleans on I-10 eastbound from the 1012 to the Loyola exit, normally about 59 minutes. We're looking at about an hour and 10, maybe an hour and 12 minutes. I would even suggest you add some time to that. You're going to get into some serious rain before you get to the Loyola exit, so that will definitely slow you down. Lights on when wipers are on. Do not turn your four-way flashers on. Our Lafayette run got kind of back to normal as that rain shower activity moved from west to east. So if you're driving from east to west, from Baton Rouge to Lafayette, that you're driving out of that. So that's going to be a lot better drive for you across the Atchafalaya Basin and even across US 190 out toward Krotz Springs and Opelousas, where we saw some really heavy downpours a little earlier this morning. So that's kind of a snapshot of what it's doing to us. And like Jared said, it is definitely moving quickly, so we'll see that kind of push off and maybe even some sunshine later this afternoon. 7:28, continuous coverage, WAFB, keeping you safe and prepared. Here's Matt and Liz.
Johnny, thank you. That's the goal here. We just have to get past this, right? Later this morning, we will see sunshine, but hard to believe right now we're dealing with the onflux that is flooding in some areas, hail in some areas, tornado warning in some too.
So because of all that, I mean, think about the timing right now, right? You got a lot of kids trying to get to school. Actually, some areas we're no longer trying to get to school. So let's actually kind of give you a look here at what we've been talking about, some of the updates here on school closures and the okay to be late. In Zachary and East Feliciana, Liz, they're just shutting it down for the day. And actually, we've heard word that, you know, if your kid was already on the bus, that kind of thing, they're going to be taken all the way to the school, can be safely picked up there a little bit later on. But Zachary at East Feliciana, no school today.
And you can see here some of the different school districts in our viewing area excusing tardies or school students who are coming late to school. In East Baton Rouge Parish for the public schools, 9:30 this morning, that's when they're excusing those tardies until. Livingston Parish just announcing on its Facebook pages that they're excusing tardies throughout the morning here. Delayed buses, we're seeing that in St. Helena Parish and Point Capee Parish. Understand that these might change as we continue to track the severe weather threat, and it's understandably so. If you are trying to get to school this morning or work, it's going to be a dicey drive out there, as we saw Johnny show you and Jared show you as well. So we're going to monitor all of our local school districts. We're also seeing some of those impacts because of power outages also impacting some folks there in Zachary, but also in Mississippi too.
Yeah, beyond just our little borders here. Obviously, this is our friends over here, poweroutage.us. You can clearly see the path of the storm, tracking right along 10. And Jared was just showing us, you know, when we go out towards like Jeff Davis Parish and Jennings and Lake Charles, even more west of that, they are beginning to clear out, but obviously still dealing with some power outages. You get into our part of the world, and you're seeing obviously places like East Feliciana better than 1,200 out right now. You get into like St. Helena, they got outages. EBR though, still more than 3,000 customers without power, Liz. Obviously, it's the biggest, it's the most populated parish, and so you think about maybe 1.5% out, but it's better than 3,000 customers out right now.
Right, that's a lot of people trying to navigate their way on a busy morning, because a lot of people already got out on their commute, on their drive. In fact, we're getting some videos from different viewers around our viewing area. In fact, let's show you some video now. This is from the Hushutu area, Hushutu Road, sent in. This is hail spotted within the last, 30 minutes, 45 minutes here. And that's not the only video we're seeing. We're also getting some reports of certain streets like Sherwood Forest Boulevard, that hot spots that we know about that tend to happen when you get a lot of rain in a short period of time. We're seeing a lot of cars out trying to make it to work this morning. A lot of folks already left the day to get to work.
Exactly. I think a lot of folks, you know, as they were, maybe I can beat it, maybe it won't be so bad in my particular area, my particular neighborhood. But again, that hail, it's about pea size. We were looking at it a minute ago with Jared. Pea size maybe a little bit bigger along Hushutu Road. But then I think, to your point, Liz, a lot of folks got out in that and maybe were kind of stuck already halfway to where they were trying to get to, and all of a sudden the rain shows up. And for some of those spots, that flash flooding, you mentioned Sherwood Forest. I drive it all the time. I know exactly where that is. Here's the thing. You can actually, when it's safe to do so, record some of what you're seeing right now. This is, of course, right through 9 reports. You can easily upload it right there. That's a little bit bigger than P right there.
It's about a quarter size.
We're getting close to, we're getting up there. I mean, that's certainly like a nickel easily. but that could do a little bit of damage if you're out there and you're not expecting it to fall down.
So if you are getting out this morning and making your way to and from work or school, please be careful, especially when you see these chunks of hail coming down your windshield. I know it's scary out there. And again, if it is safe for you to do so, please pull on over and go ahead and just wait it out while you can, the storm. And if you are in a safe place to do so, we'd love to see your photos and videos to help show our viewers where we're seeing the majority of these incident reports. 9reports.com. You can open the 9 News app and WAFB weather app. Jared, that's also a great place to get our weather updates this morning.
Yeah, it certainly is, Liz. Thank you so much. And the radar has definitely been very busy over the past couple of hours. We are still under a severe thunderstorm watch. Technically, that's in effect area-wide until 11 a.m., being only 7:32 right now, and we're starting to get close to the backside of this. I'm sure that'll be allowed to expire a little bit earlier. Baton Rouge now in the green, so that's where we like to be. And now the focal point has become the eastern parts of our viewing area, the eastern parishes going into places like Hammond. And now it looks like we have a new tornado warning box, but it's very close to the one that we just had before, just in between Lake Maurepas and Lake Pontchartrain. We're going to get a look at that in just 1 second. Let's go around the radar and see what we have. In between Plaquemine, St. George, Prairieville, beginning to see the rain lighten up a little bit. That's good news. Down farther to the south, White Castle down the Pierre Part, heavier thunderstorms over there, but I'm not seeing any active warnings between White Castle, Pierre Part, down the Convent and south of Sorrento. Now, as you go away from Sorrento over to the east, in between Killian, the I-55, and then both lakes. Again, there's Maurepas, Ponchatoula, and Lake Pontchartrain. That's where we not only have the severe thunderstorm warning, but now we've got that tornado warning box that just came out. That's in effect until 7:45, probably even going to be a little bit longer than that. And again, you could see right wedged in between of the two lakes right now. If we zoom in a little bit more tightly, as I'm sure you well know, there aren't a lot of densely populated towns in this area, but to give you an idea of your vantage point, all the way up here, that's Ponchatoula, and that's I-55 down to Sharkey, Strader, if I'm saying that right, and Lee's Landing is in the box in that target. So again, if you are in this area, you're going to want to stay in your safe space, definitely stay indoors, and if you do take a power hit, our WAFB app, the WAFB weather app, very good tools to use, especially when you lose the power. Meanwhile, back over towards the other area where we did have confirmation of a tornado touchdown, and that was in between that Pumpkin Center and Springfield and Rosaryville, right in this area here. They're no longer tornado warned, but again, obviously there was already confirmation out there. Meanwhile, move it over to our Barron radar that shows debris and a debris signature debris detector, and you can see right there north of Hungarian Settlement and down towards Springfield, you see a couple of those areas of yellow indicating debris, and that doesn't necessarily mean that there is definitely a tornado in that area. It means it is definitely possible, though. In between Happy Woods, this is all south of Hammond, and again in the area of Ponchatoula. We're going to keep a very watchful eye on that. Hopefully that'll be the last of the tornado warnings. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, we're starting to see those warnings migrate a little bit more and more to the east, but obviously this was a huge electrical storm, and by the way, not only the Baton Rouge area, but our whole viewing area taking multiple power hits, and that's the reason why a lot of schools have decided they're going to go ahead and shut their doors. We're going to give you an update on that once again in just a minute or so. Meantime, at the very end of this loop, just off to the north and west of Baton Rouge, looks like everything is starting to quiet down. I don't see anything out there that's developing any further, so that's at least some good news. As for what we're expecting over the next couple of hours, the Futurecast is going to show by the time we get to 9 a.m., that's going to be the focal point, and I'll tell you, it's probably even going to be a little bit faster than that. So we weren't too concerned with flooding. I don't think we have to be too concerned with it right now because this is moving through at such a fast forward clip. By the time we get to 11 a.m., probably even sooner than that, it looks like it's going to be a thing of the past and completely outside of the area. Still in a level 2, that is a slight risk by the SPC, and that's going to be there probably just for the next hour or two. As I mentioned earlier, tornadoes, damaging winds, those are the higher 2 threats that we're looking at. We've already seen hail. That last hail picture that we showed that Matt was talking about, that did look a little bit bigger, probably close to 1-inch diameter. That's what we consider severe. The rain that you're seeing here, that is taking into account what we've had this morning and what we're going to get over the next 7 days with a few new chances of rain. But for today, once we get to about, I would say 9 or 10 a.m., we're going to be looking significantly better, and then the sun comes right back out for the remainder of the afternoon and a high temperature of 83 degrees. Keep it locked here to WAFB, both on air, online, and on your apps as well. Or are we going to kick it to Johnny right now doing traffic? Is that what we're doing? Okay.
You can kick it to me, don't kick me. Still seeing a little bit of traffic now developing on the south side of US 61. That's going to be on the Scenic Highway going south. A little bit of traffic right here on LA1 right past the Intracoastal. We're starting to see some Florida Boulevard traffic as well on the westbound side going toward Airline. That's going to be from right past Sharp near Sherwood. Interstates are looking actually pretty good. I'm going to do the overlay. See, it's getting a lot better. It was reds and yellows. Now on the footprint across Baton Rouge, light rain, but we are definitely seeing more in the Gonzales area. So certainly north of that French settlement, Killian, right around the Lake Maurepas, and from Ponchatoula down south toward on I-55 toward Laplace. We are starting to see the edge of that kind of knocking on the door of Laplace. Show you a couple of camera shots a while ago. This whole sky up here in Laplace, this is near the way station, was clear, and now we're seeing that some lightning, and we're also seeing some clouds move into that area. Still relatively dry across the Bonnet Carré Spillway. There's the spillway right there, but you can definitely see we're starting to see some lightning there. Everybody's using their headlights, low beam headlights, and lights on when wipers are on, so that will be important for you to know. But again, it looks like the tail end of that is going to kind of start moving and smacking into the Laplace area, certainly getting you onto the Bonnet Carré Spillway. So your drive to New Orleans right now is not bad, but I would add some time to that. Our normal drive time for comparison is about 59 minutes from the 1012 to the Loyola exit. You're about an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes, and when it starts to really rain, you're going to need to slow that down, and that will be very much in your favor to do so. By the way, the Plaquemine Sunshine Ferry Boat, we just got a notification that is back up and running now this morning. So that blew through there. They shut it down for just a little while, as they do in inclement weather, and now it's back up and running. Time check for you. It's 7:39. Liz Coe and Matt Williams at the desk.
So showing that, again, that Plaquemine Ferry being back in, showing that we're getting to the back end of this, right? But there is still some stuff to travel through, and travel is kind of an issue, so schools are making accommodations.
We've just learned an update from Iberville and Ascension Parish Schools. They are excusing tardiness for today. As we deal with this inclement weather, you see it is quickly moving out of our area, but as a lot of parents and school buses are out in it, understandably so, you had a lot of people who were under those tornado warnings where the buses are not able to go, so they stayed stopped for a while. So if you take a look at your screen as we track the severe weather, you can see the two school districts that are indefinitely closed for today. That's Zachary and East Feliciana parishes. And then again, we've learned about some new tardy excusals today.
Yeah, last time we talked about this, we had East Baton Rouge Parish and Iberville are good to go, or now Livingston, Ascension, EBR. So all those now excusing tardies as they get through school late, but safely. And then those delayed bus pickups. To your point, it's depending on where they are, got a lot of wind, a lot of rain, maybe some flash flooding in areas. Buses trying to do the right thing and stay safe. Delayed bus pickup in places like St. Helena Parish, Point Capee Parish. Just know that you're going to be traveling through it right now.
Speaking of traveling through it, if you do not need to be out right now while it's still thick and while we're waiting for this to pass through our area, please stay home. We are seeing some people without power outages this morning, courtesy of poweroutage.us. You can see in our viewing area to the left of us, the west of us, you did see a lot of that Lafayette area and southwest Louisiana also dealing with the severe round that passed through there first. We're seeing there in Acadia Parish and Lafayette Parish thousands of customers without power. And then in the WAFB viewing area, as we look towards that Louisiana-Mississippi borderline, we're seeing Westfell, Eastville, St. Helena, Tangipahoa Parish with a number of outages. We're seeing in Tangipahoa and East and Westfell thousands of customers. We're seeing there in Tangipahoa Parish a couple hundred tracking this morning. And Jared, we just need to get past this storm, and hopefully that'll give the linemen time to come out and restore anything that needs to be restored. We just got to get through this.
Yeah, Liz, absolutely right. And this has been a very significant electrical storm, so much so that on our Barron radar, you can see we got the lightning tracker up. And right now the lightning strikes at about 1200. That's actually significantly improved, believe it or not. But we'll go ahead and shut that off so that we can actually take a look at what the radar is doing behind that. And you could see this one box that's blinking right over here. Not only was that a tornado warning that we had, but that was actually a confirmed tornado. We had a debris signature right near Springfield in that area. That was a couple of minutes ago. The residual warning is in effect until 7:45. And by the way, you see this box blinking right here, just in case you're wondering why it's doing that. usually the box starts to blink when it's a particularly dangerous situation or when you have something destructive. So let's go ahead and loop this thing. This is just a short loop. This is a 1 hour loop. And you can see how the tornado warnings kind of migrated, starting off just to the north of the 190 and I-12 corridor, and then slowly but surely dropping down towards the south and east. Mainly now, a big part of the threat that we're seeing is mainly in that Hammond area. And if we take a look at where it looks like everything is heading right now on our future track, that puts it right near the Covington area, and that should be within the next couple of minutes. Meanwhile, we're going to see these thunderstorms hopefully start to wrap up and improve. There you can see the Baton Rouge area certainly looks like it's improving, but at the very end of this, we do see a couple of thunderstorms right on the back edge. And there you can see this might be a little bit of good news. That one little tornado warning box, that looks to be the last of the tornado warnings within our viewing area. Hopefully that's going to continue to be the case there. Meanwhile, Baton Rouge is starting to see more of the green, but over in Henderson, a couple of brief heavy downpours down to Pierre Part, White Castle, on over to Convent. We're seeing a couple of them over there as well. And there's that tornado warning again, right wedged in between the lakes. There is Lake Maurepas, Lake Pontchartrain, and right around Ponchatoula. This is just off to the south of I-12 and Hammond. That tornado warning is in effect until 7:45. I do believe that the National Weather Service is going to allow this warning to expire, as I'm sure you don't need me to tell you, in this tornado warning box, there's just not a lot of densely populated areas. At the very top, the northern extent, Lee's Landing, all the way down to Galva, Strader, and Sharkey. So if you're anywhere in between the two lakes, I would say you definitely want to stay in an interior room on the lowest floor possible. Still definitely not out of the woods yet. And this was actually where we did see a confirmed tornado touchdown earlier. It was actually right around the Springfield area, just off to the south of Pumpkin Center and south of the I-12 corridor. There you see Baptist at the top of your screen in Hammond. So if you live south of that area in the I-12 corridor, no question about it, definitely just had some rough weather pass. The good news, if I could say there's any good news, is the fact that this is moving with such a quick and rapid forward speed that it doesn't look like we're going to have to worry too much about anything in the way of flooding. And there you can see the back edge already now starting to migrate its way through our area. So let's go ahead and see what the Futurecast, in this case the HRRR, let's see what it says about the timing. And it's doing a good job. I think the graph model's been too slow, but there you see it about 9 o'clock in the morning. I think that's what the radar probably will look like. And by the time we get to about 11:30 in the morning, the whole entire threat gets on out of here and we start to see improvements and even a little bit of sunshine. As I mentioned, we're still kind of locked in at that level 2 for the SPC. And there you can see once you go west of the Baton Rouge area, it really looks like that threat completely goes away. Tornadoes, damaging winds still going to be possible, I would say, for the next hour or so. I've got the threat window closing at about 10 o'clock in the morning for good reason. And we're still going to see pockets of heavy rain, but a lot of what you see here on the WPC, that's more going forward, as we'll have a couple more rain chances on the horizon. Forecast for today, again, we're going to see a gradually decreasing chance and then a drastically decreasing chance of showers and storms. By the time we get into the afternoon, we've got the sunshine returning and we're going to be definitely looking good to go. Let's get another look also at the extended forecast because I didn't get a chance to show it. It looks like we're going to be looking pretty good, but near record temperatures are going to be possible. We're going to be knocking on the door of 90 degrees by the mid to latter part of the work week. Matt and Liz?
Jared, thank you. We just want to kind of reset here and get you an update. Johnny, how are we looking out on our roads right now?
Boy, here in the Baton Rouge area, it's looking a lot better. In fact, down in Iberville Parish, Plaquemine Sunshine Ferry Boat, which always goes out of service when it gets really windy or in inclement weather, and that is already past there. So they are back up and running this morning. In fact, they're running, let me go back to that. Let me show you, they're running extended hours on that main ferry because that second ferry boat is still in Cameron and will be for a while. So they start at 4 and they end at 9. That's a little earlier Monday through Friday than they normally work. So let's take you out for our interactive drive time map, kind of turn our map background a little bit brighter so you can kind of see. Southbound on 61 approaching the interstate, that's I-110. The airport's right over here. We've got some very slow traffic in that area. And as we move south to LA1, northbound traffic on LA1 is about what we normally see approaching the I-10 on-ramp coming in from West Baton Rouge. Interstate's looking pretty good in and through the Baton Rouge area. Still seeing some very heavy traffic. We're expecting there's probably probably a wreck right here. Airline Highway right near the Amazon facility. And then this backup on Florida Boulevard westbound starts way back there at Sherwood Forest Boulevard. Coming out of Denham Springs, this is the Amite River right here, looking really good. It's a little bit slow right here is O'Neill. This is our morning rush hour traffic, though, what's left of that coming out of Denham Springs. Again, buses are running very slowly this morning as we want them to, and tardies are being excused. Let's look at the map right here. Here's Hammond. Here's I-55 between Ponchatoula and Laplace. This is the causeway. Let me overlay the rain shower activity. You can certainly see right where this footprint is going from the Ascension Parish area right through St. James, St. John, and onto the Bonnet Carré Spillway this morning. We're definitely starting to see the edge of that affect your drive toward New Orleans. Here's the Loyola exit right there. This traffic beyond Loyola going east on 10 through Kenner Metairie as normal rush hour traffic. That's not related to a wreck or anything. And then there's your airport exit right past the Bonnet Carré Spillway. Here's right near the scales, the way station, if you will, in Laplace, I-10, that's facing the Bonnet Carré Spillway. Several shots of the Bonnet Carré Spillway. For the most part, kind of dry, but we're definitely seeing some rain shower activity as you get up on the spillway right past Laplace, making your way down toward Kenner Metairie. You can see that cloud, and we're starting to see some lightning, too, on the spillway this morning. I'd give more time than that. Our average speeds are good, but I'd slow it down. Normal is 60. We're at 69 minutes, so an hour and 10. I'd actually add some time to that, guys, just in case you get into some of that heavier rain shower activity. Lights on when wipers are on, no four-way flashers when driving in rain, only when you're stopped. Guys?
Johnny, thank you. Good reminders here as we continue to deal with this and wait for this to push on out. It is moving fast. That is the good news here. And as we continue to track what's kind of left behind, a lot of folks are maybe waking up without power this morning, tracking this and just waiting for it to move through.
So if you're kind of stuck out in it, I mean, now what, right? And so you're seeing some video that we've showed you before of spots that are flash flooding issues, that kind of a thing. And so some of the problem spots that we've seen before, for example, and we're getting pieces and parts of video here. Obviously, you got ponding there in a parking lot. That is, I mean, that's half of the wheels are disappeared on some of these vehicles as they sit there and they wait at a red light to get going. But if you know your part of the world, and I'm sure you do, you know exactly where some of the issues are. For example, that is Sherwood Forest. I travel that all the time. I know exactly where it's going to flood because it happens with a light downpour. And this was obviously a little bit more than that.
This was about an hour ago. So again, this is a quickly moving storm. And when you talk about flash flooding, the problem spots that you're talking about, Matt, we know that that is one of the typical trouble spots. We're also getting some videos from many of you. We believe that this is also in the Baton Rouge area. Roads are flooding this morning. O'Neill Lane, we're seeing some ponding of water in certain area. This looks like video from someone's backyard where you see that lightning and the rain starting to come down here. Again, if you can send us your videos, this is really going to help us pinpoint where we're seeing that flooding happen in different pockets and neighborhoods. Earlier we saw hail in the Hushatu neighborhood. Here sent in from John Connolly. Again, this is some pea-sized hail that we saw about 30-45 minutes ago. But if you're seeing anything move through your neighborhood now as the storm continuously moves eastward and quickly at that, please send us those photos and videos if it is safe for you to do so.
Safely get to school, and you're allowed to take your time in some of these places today as we continue to look at some of the videos sent in. There are two districts canceling for the day. You see them at the very top, Zachary and East Feliciana. Both of those districts making the call about an hour ago because there are just more issues that can be handled safely. Beyond that, though, Liz, a handful of schools saying, we know you're going to be late. Obviously, take your time, be safe.
You can see it there, Zachary, East Feliciana. We know for the
for the closed,
for the tardies, we've got East Baton Rouge Parish Schools, we've got Livingston, Iberville, and Ascension, all dealing with those excusals for late arrivals today. If you have students that have already gotten on the bus in Zachary and you've already sent them off for the way, the school district is asking you to wait at home and then pick up your child when it is safe to do so, when this severe weather threat has moved out of our area. Now, if you're looking outside thinking, well, it's not raining anymore, anymore. It's not bad. Just think about the impact it is around your neighborhood. You may not see it directly, but a lot of people are still dealing with power outages this morning. If we check on that, actually, we're seeing some good news here. This is an Entergy map of the outages that we're currently tracking, and you can see small pockets of red in East Baton Rouge, and as we move on down there, you can see Livingston Parish, Ascension dealing with some pockets of red as well, and that's why certain school districts are allowing families to arrive late today. Late start, as you may have woken up without power. It's understandably going to delay some things with stoplights too. If those are out this morning, you just want to be careful if you are going to arrive late today.
You were just out west there towards Lafayette, and actually we're talking with state climatologist Jay Grimes, confirmed right now tornado indicated out in St. Landry Parish. So think north of Lafayette, Opelousas way, and then a debris signature kind of indicated tornado that Jared's talked about, Livingston going towards Tangipahoa Parish. So this is why you got that first alert going on right now, because there was a weather pattern pushing through the area that had the possibility of producing that, and it did in a couple of spots. So Jared, as we look at these power outages, this was to be this was not it's not a surprise that we're seeing these kinds of power outages with this kind of a line of storms coming through.
Yeah, Matt, it's definitely not a surprise, especially with the electrical storm that we've seen so far. Now, if I can add a little bit of good news, as of right now, all the tornado warnings that we did have in the eastern parishes and the eastern parts of our viewing area appear like they have gone away. So right now, we are currently not under any tornado warnings in our viewing area. Now, as Matt mentioned, the one that we had confirmed in St. Landry, kind of outside of our viewing area. Another one in Marion, Mississippi, also out of our viewing area, but the one that was within our area was the one near Springfield. And again, that was about 30 minutes or so ago. Let's see how we're doing on lightning. Let me put up the lightning here and the lightning tracker as well. Here you can see the total strikes, and it's actually quite a bit. We've seen right now around 1,000, but that number, believe it or not, I know this sounds a little crazy, that's a huge improvement. Before we were showing this, it was showing about 3,000 lightning strikes just in several minutes in this window over here. So again, very, very impressive there. Let's go ahead and stop the loop, and then we can take a look. Let me get rid of the lightning actually, so we can see what we have left here to deal with. Anything that we see here in red is indicating not only the heavy downpours, but we might even be seeing a little bit in the way of hail. I haven't seen too much. So far so good, but again, once we take a look, let me try to get a zoom down here and see if there's anything that we see. And right now, I would say there could be some really small hail producers, possibly just around the Sorrento area, all the way down the Lucia. That's about it. Let's zoom back out, and we can see not only, I wanted to show this too. Yes, the back edge is back here by Lafayette, but also we can see a couple of thunderstorms that are just being kind of a pest. They're starting to develop and meander right near the Atchafalaya Basin. So let's go ahead and look at that. I don't think we have to worry about this batch over here causing anything severe, because this is mainly behind the front in the relatively stabler, more stable air mass. There's Henderson, there's Lafayette, Breaux Bridge, and it's starting to make its way towards our neck of the woods. We'll keep a watchful eye on this. Meanwhile, you could see the radar. For the most part, Baton Rouge looking a little good until we get those couple of downpours there. But as I mentioned earlier, the couple of tornado warnings that we did have, one was in Amite, one was in Tangi. We had a couple earlier this morning in East and West Fell. It looks like everything has been allowed to expire. Fingers crossed, we're not going to see any more tornado warnings for the remainder of the morning. It looks like the front line, the forward line, that's the line that causes all the trouble. That's the troublemakers. They now are making their way outside of our viewing area. The only area now, Sorrento down to Convent and places towards 61 where it intersects in the southern part of our viewing area. New Roads and St. Francisville back to Morganza, actually they had the first tornado warning in our area. That was back between 5:30 and 5:45 this morning. And the rest of the radar starting to get a little bit quiet. Hopefully that is a sign of things to come and a gradually decreasing chance of showers and thunderstorms throughout the morning. And we will be looking good with significantly more sunshine in the afternoon. Okay, that's an update on the radar. Let's kick it over to Johnny Asian, who's got a look at your traffic.
area. We're starting to see a lot of improvement in the immediate Baton Rouge area. Let me activate the map real quick, and we'll look at the drive times as well. They're getting back to some degree of normal, as a matter of fact. Here's our map, and we're still looking slow on Highway 61 as you approach the interstate right there. I understand there may have been a wreck. I didn't get a report on that formally, but that's usually what that means. We don't see a lot of backup at 61 at the interstate this late in the rush hour usually. I-10's moving pretty good this morning. 12 starting to slow down a little bit at the 10-12, but that's not weather related. That is definitely a normal morning rush hour. This is the problem. Florida Boulevard westbound at Airline and Airline Highway north and southbound right in front of Amazon. That's going to have some issues there because of an earlier wreck. We're definitely seeing some slow moving traffic there. I-12's kind of gotten back to normal coming out of Denham Springs. Going to widen our shot, give you that overlay again of with Jared's radar. You see where you're where most of that is. It's kind of starting to get out of the Hammond-Ponchatoula area, but still pretty slow on I-55 southbound. And now we're starting to knock on the door of Laplace and going across the Bonnet-Carré Spillway this morning. That's going to get a little wetter than it is right now. Our snapshot of that. If you're going out toward the New Orleans area, if you can wait a little while, starting to see that rain shower activity. There's Laplace right near the truck stop as you make your way toward I-50 or toward the Bonnet-Carré Spillway. Once you get up on the spillway out of Laplace, definitely has gotten some rain. We're even knocking out some of our cameras. That camera shot right there was available earlier. We're thinking with some of that rain shower activity, it's definitely gotten a lot slower. Here is your drive time to the International Airport, to the exit at Loyola. 72, definitely moved that up. Looking at about an hour and 15 to an hour and a half to get from the 10-12 to the Loyola exit. Here's some of our local drive times, all getting back to normal this morning. They're starting to get back closer to the green. That was all red, and pretty much all three of those, I-10 from Gonzales, I-12 from Denham, and I-10 from the 10-12 to downtown, again, getting a little bit better. And the Plaquemine Sunshine Ferry Boat is back up and running with that other boat out in Cameron for a while. We're going to have extended hours. They start earlier and stop later on the weekdays. Same with the weekend, 9:30 to 6:45 as you make your way across the river down in Iberville Parish. That's getting a lot better here in the immediate Baton Rouge area. 7:57, and a reminder, we still have school buses out and about. Tardies are being excused. Guys?
And we've got one more school district to add to that list, Johnny. West Baton Rouge Parish Schools also excusing tardiness today. And Johnny said it here, we are getting back to normal. But as we get back to normal, just know that we are seeing these updates from different school districts again. West Baton Rouge added to the excused tardies for today.
So they joined East Baton Rouge, Livingston, Iberville, and Ascension Parish that we've talked about before. And a reminder, Zachary and East Feliciana, no schools today. They made that announcement about an hour ago. We all understand why, just a little bit too dangerous in some spots to get out there, period. But to Johnny's point, to Jared's point, we are going to get better very quickly, actually, here when it comes to what's out there, world or weather-wise. But this is where you can follow the very latest, right through the 9 News app, of course, the weather section at WAFB.com, literally up to the minute.
So you can see today's forecast. We're just getting through this spell here. Today, it is looking largely nice. Later on this morning, we're going to see some of that sunshine pop up. But you see that line of storms? It is moving now in the metro New Orleans area. So as we continue to track these line of storms, we'll be with you every step of the way throughout 9 News this morning.
So let's send you back to regular programming now as we kind of get you on to the rest of that Monday. If there's any issues, no worries. We'll jump on here at WAFB and, of course, the app, the website as well. Enjoy the rest of your careful Monday morning.